I found out. I think uh I might know why. Although I don't know why HBO Max. Why it's HBO Max and why it's just Max now or whatever. Cause I noticed they have. I'm not sure if it's in like their like original section or whatever, but they have Cinemax shows on there too, which Cinemax is another like premium channel.
Did they buy out Cinemax?
Yeah, that was my thinking maybe, and like HBO is definitely more of a recognizable name than Cinemax, but why would they then just call it HBO Max and then just Max? So I'm not sure how.
Yeah, it seems like they're conceding a lot of ground to Cinemax.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like I guess the A in Max still has like the HBO O style, like it's got the little dot in the center, so it's kind of still there. But I mean, I remember it was Cinemax, HBO, and Showtime. Those are like the big three, and Showtime is still around. I don't even know what's on there anymore though. Like the only reason we got Showtime was to watch like Twin Peaks: The Return, and then I don't even think it's on Showtime anymore. Like I think Twin Peaks got shifted. I think it's on Paramount Plus now.
Really?
Dude,
who
even knows?
Yeah, was NBC the one that ran the original series?
I don't know. I think it was actually a Showtime limited series. I think it was.
No, I meant like in the 90s, like the original.
Oh.
Twin Peaks.
I think so because at the wherever Bob Iger was the president of ABC.
Yeah.
Because before Bob Iger was at Disney, he was at ABC. And Bob Iger is like one of the primary reasons that David Lynch stepped away, because he forced them to reveal Laura Palmer's killers.
Yeah.
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 What a putz.
Yeah.
Dude, I had some choice words for streaming services today. Maybe I don't know if it was Apple TV or what. But we can talk about this in post chat. But we went to go watch The Hunger Games, and I searched it. And the first result was getting a subscription to like Peacock Premium. That was like that's the first thing it showed me. It was like, you need to be subscribed to watch this. And then I found out all of them are on Hulu, which we have.
Oh.
But the fact that it was like trying to push another purchase out of me, instead of being like, you can watch it on this too that you already have, they're like, no, just sign up for another one. Like, come on, what's one more, right?
Come on. Yeah.
Maybe I'm just conspiracy pilled about streaming services, but I thought that was interesting that it was just like, why would you show me like the option where I have to purchase it rather than the option that I already have on the TV? I don't know. You tell me. It's all evil.
Yeah. Just more continuing our thread of just buy your own media when you can.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, after watching Hunger Games, I don't think I want to necessarily buy it.
That's true.
But you know, Chloe was like, we should watch that, and I said, okay.
Okay.
So we watched that.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so there is a point to streaming services, sure.
Yeah. I was about to rent it though, and I'm like, God damn it, they got me again.
I also have that I also have something to say about HBO. When we
post chat. Okay.
No, it'll be part of the, because it was during Police Story.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well,
Speaking
of Police Story.
Yeah, speaking of Police Story. Welcome back, ladies and gents, to episode 107 of ThereWillBeDuds, and I am your co-host TJ, aka J Spot Jack Cheese, and with me as always,
As always, I am Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch, and it's just us for another week.
Another rousing week of watching a movie and maybe
hoping that we have enough to talk about.
Yeah. And as always, we did indeed watch a movie, and that movie this week being Police Story from 1985, directed by Jackie Chan. It follows a police officer, Kakui, or Kevin Chan, as he's known in the English dub. And it's basically him just trying to take down a shady drug, like heroin distributor guy. That's more or less it.
Very typical 80s bad guy.
Yeah. He gets involved with the bad guy's like girlfriend, who they're like trying to use as a witness, but she's kind of going back and forth on like allegiances and stuff. It's like a kung fu action comedy. It's funny because like the plot, like the logline or like short synopsis on like Google and IMDb is a virtuous Hong Kong police officer must clear his good name when the drug lord he is after frames him for the murder of a dirty cop, which I think is funny because that's like just the last, like the very end of the movie. It's just the
first hour and 15 minutes are not that.
yeah. It's like he gets framed and then you basically have one extended like action sequence. And that's the end, It's like the climax of the movie.
Yeah, I did notice that when I was reading the synopsis, and I was like, that hasn't happened yet, and we're an hour in. You've seen this one before, yeah?
No, I had not. Nope.
No, okay. I knew Jackie Chan was like foundational in your household, or at least some of those classic Jackie Chan movies.
Yep. Just never, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't at the rental stores we went to. I mentioned having seen Super Cop and Jackie Chan's First Strike, and it wasn't until like looking up like this movie that I found out that those are actually Super Cop is Police Story 3 and Jackie Chan's First Strike is Police Story 4. So I have seen two of the sequels. And now I guess I'll see the second one just to round it out. But we got like the VHS tape ones, the English dubs, and I'm pretty sure those, especially First Strike, which I remember more than Super Cop at least. But that one like doesn't have his girlfriend anymore, but she's in all the other ones. And I wouldn't be surprised if like watching the English dubs of those, they probably try to separate themselves from like the series. They try to just make them seem as like one-offs because that's easier to market instead of like, hey, the fourth movie in this franchise,
right?
Right. Because you look at like the box art or whatever for Jackie Chan's First Strike, and Police Story is like nowhere to be found on like the American stuff, and then for Super Cop it's like in little letters above the title, Super Cop. So yeah, I kind of want to see the other ones in this series because, whew, boy, I had a good ass time with this movie. This was like my first like classic Jackie Chan movie. I think I've seen like some of the Rush Hours. I think I saw Rush Hour 3 in theaters in like the early 2000s, like 2005 or 6, whenever that came out. 3 was 2007, I think. 2 was maybe 2003, so could have been either one of those.
But yeah, I definitely saw the third one in theaters, and then I watched the animated series. But other than that, like, I knew of Jackie Chan, like I knew his martial arts performance, or like stunt performing. But this movie, on a technical level, was very dazzling, and there were several moments where I was like completely in awe at the like scale and scope. Like the initial like scene is insane. Like when they're like basically they're like on this stakeout and they've all got little earpieces in, and basically one of their guys, is he the one that gets spotted, the one that's like the kind of mole?
I'm at that it drops you right into the middle of that scene.
Yeah,
I
so
do
you don't
not
really
remember
know
who was who in that.
Yeah. But essentially their cover gets blown, so it leads to this gunfight. Mm-hmm. There's this very like tense moment where he's with another one of his guys who's like extremely nervous, and he's just like, get your shit together, man.
Yeah.
He like pisses his pants. I thought it was gonna be more of like a buddy cop style movie, because I thought, I was like, okay, these two guys kind of have a relationship, like, you know, Jackie Chan's he's the smooth operator, and the other guy is kind of the super nervous guy. Mm-hmm. But no, he just kind of he kind of goes off to the wayside a little bit. But
yeah,
that initial scene where like the sort of climax of that, with the two vehicles just barreling through down the hill through like the shanty town, and like you can see guys on rooftops like jumping out of the way. Like, I want to know how many times they had to run that. Like okay,
could have been one. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like that amount of devastation you can just reset like it's nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
Just like, yeah, resetting, and then how many times they destroy stuff. Like, half their budget must have been fucking plate glass windows.
Yes. Yeah. Apparently on the set, people started to call it Glass Story. Apparently.
I
especially
almost made that
in the
joke.
mall.
I almost made that joke when I was doing the intro.
Especially in the mall,
yeah,
with just so many just sheets of glass being destroyed, which apparently was more dangerous for the stunt people because it's thicker. So I think you have to like try a little harder to like break it.
Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you said like the climax of that being like driving the cars to the town, but really that scene keeps going after that.
That is true.
It continues into the street, into him like hooking an umbrella on the back of a double-decker bus, and
as soon as I saw him grab it, I knew exactly what he was gonna do with it.
Yeah. And like when it goes around the corner and he's like, you see him like swing way out. That was like, watching that was like, I was getting the same like vibes of like watching a Buster Keaton, like that. The bus part in particular was very Buster Keaton-y.
When he's like he's like kind of upside down, and he's like kicking his legs, and then like this man's core strength to be able to be held up like that, and then lift his legs and come and like swing them around to right himself.
I know.
Was unbelievable.
Well, there's even like later on in the movie, it's when he's sneaking into, it's right before he's like framed. He's sneaking into the bad guy's like house or whatever, to rescue the girl, and there's like the fence. They have like the gated fence, and he just like hops against the wall and then like goes horizontal over the fence. Just like it looks so effortless.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like it's floating. It's nuts.
Every time he jumps after a guy, like there's a scene in the mall when they're going, like the escalator's going down and one's going up. He like jumps and like he just goes horizontal, lands on the escalator, swings up, jumps up. Yeah, so many of these stunts. And it's like, obviously, you know, they must have done a bunch of takes or rehearsed it a shitload of times, but like by the time they got it, yeah, it looks like he just moves that way. And it's like he uses it perfectly for action and for comedy too.
Yeah, that
I didn't think this was gonna be. I didn't look too much into it when we pulled it, so I thought it was gonna be like, okay, kung fu action movie, Jackie Chan. I was not expecting the comedic elements, and it's so perfect. It's like Buster Keaton and kung fu and like the Three Stooges. Sometimes the way, like the fight with the guy who's like pretending to break in.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He does the what's that movie? The Weekend at Bernie's shit with him.
Yeah.
Where he's like, no, he's not. He's still alive, and he's trying to stab me, and he's like holding him up and like forcing the knife.
Don't pass out. Hey.
There! That's got him!
No, he's not letting go yet.
There's like an escalation of like how Jackie has to like contort his body to make it work because like she hits him with the thing first and he's like dazed, so he's kind of like falling over, and then he's like, no, he's still up, and then she hits him with the second one and he's like out cold, and then Jackie has to like lift his knee up to like like under the guy's crotch to like support him, so now he's like on one foot, and very much like the scene, which was one of my favorite scenes, was when he's alone in the police station and has to answer all the phones.
Yes. It's so good.
It's the same idea of like, you know, just escalation of like how many phones he can juggle and like, you know, flipping him off the receiver with his feet and catching them and like all that crazy shit.
Yeah. About halfway through the movie, I wanted to almost like rewind it and just write down every single like inanimate object that he uses like as like a tool, either for like progressing or using it as like a weapon of some sort.
Yeah,
because it's like there's like a coat rack in the mall that he like he's very good at like flipping it, pulling it, just like basically contorting it however he needs to like perfectly trip someone up or knock them out of the way. And then when he's in the police station, he looks and he sees like a pencil barely hanging off the desk. So he kicks it with his foot and it flips up and he catches it, and it's just I feel like that's like the quintessential like Jackie Chan style, just using whatever he can find in the room to like get out of a situation, like grabbing the umbrella and latching himself onto the bus. It's like perfect.
Yeah, I was waiting for his I don't know if it like is his trademark, but I was waiting for a ladder, because he often uses like a long like stretch ladder, and he can fucking work those things. So he got to like the coat rack in the mall. I was like, okay, that's what we get for the ladder in this one, I guess.
Close enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Like, it's so hard for me to watch movies now, from like a police perspective, without like having some bit of like, oh yeah, you know, like cops authority cool. Overreaching is cool and police brutality is cool, and like you know. It really makes you, you know, you're supposed to focus on him like as, you know, the personal, because, you know, the guy framed him, and like you just saw the bad guy kick his girlfriend like down like 2 sets of stairs. So obviously the guy's a piece of shit. But then like I'm like, oh, this is a police officer. And like the very end of the movie is him just beating up like 3 unarmed guys. And then it freeze frames, like,
and then I was like, "Oh, okay, all right, that's the end of the movie, I guess."
Yeah,
very surprising. Yeah, I feel like there's even a line where he's talking to the lieutenant, and he's just like, "Yeah, you care more about doing the paperwork and doing things by the book than getting results." Yeah,
that kind of stuff. Yeah,
where I'm almost like rooting for the commissioner or lieutenant guy, because it's like he's like, well, he wants to do it the proper way. He does, and like I think he says, he's like, look, I don't think that you killed this guy, but we can't. I don't want it to look like we're just covering for one of our own, so I have to charge you. And I'm like, it's kind of a reasonable thing. That's kind of
yeah.
But then the movie would have ended there on a freeze frame, and there wouldn't have been the mall pole scene where he goes down like 3 stories on the pole.
Yeah, I'd seen that stunt before, because it's like it's considered like one of the great stunts, or like or at least like one of his like best stunts.
Which like there's a huge paragraph about it on the IMDb page
about just that stunt.
Yeah. So apparently this was like an interview on the Criterion, because there's Police Story 1 and 2 released as a box set. and apparently like they've been shooting in the mall for months at the time of this scene. So like there was kind of an air of the mall wanting these guys to be done. And so it's like by the time they got to the pole stunt, the police story production was under some degree of pressure from the mall to wrap up. By the time the pole stunt was set up, the sun had begun to rise. There was going to be a lot of broken glass to clean up before the mall opened in the morning. While Chan is somewhat infamous for taking the time to get stunts right, in this instance there was a real sense of urgency. Chan and his team did not rehearse the stunt, and as if the stakes weren't high enough, there were no wires, crash mats, or safety nets. If Chan missed the pole, there would be nothing to catch him or break his fall.
Wow.
The original plan was to power the lights with low-voltage car battery, but as they discovered on the day, the car battery just wasn't able to power the whole structure, so they plugged the lights into the wall sockets. This meant that the voltage of the building itself could potentially electrocute Chan. To assuage Chan's understandable concern, the tech crew assured him that if anything went wrong, they would simply cut the power. Chan perched on the guardrail 6 floors above his final destination, a prop kiosk shielded by sugar glass, of course. He told the crew that he would give a signal before initiating the stunt. When I nod, I'm going. Chan was, by his own admission, rather scared. I remember the JC stunt team snuck a good luck totem into Chan's pocket during a hug. And as Chan tells it, a crew member mistook a nervous neck motion for the go signal. Someone shouted rolling, and the deathly quiet atrium filled with the motors of all 12 high-speed cameras.
Wow.
The amount of camera coverage was exceptional at the time, especially within Chan's own filmography, but they only had one shot at it, and they only had 400 feet of film. Knowing this, Chan let out a scream and jumped. By Chan's estimate, the distance from the ground rail to the pole was about 8 feet, which he cleared without a running start from an unstable crouching position. During the descent, the string bulbs did not electrocute him, but they did have a different unforeseen effect. Incandescent light bulbs are hot to the touch. They can even ignite paper, blah, 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 blah. The heat, coupled with the friction of the descent, resulted in second-degree burns on his palms. The instant Chan hits the floor, he gets up and starts fighting. This is all the more impressive considering, as Chan relays in his autobiography, the impact of the fall dislocated his pelvis and caused a back injury that could have been paralyzing. As Chan tells it, his adrenaline was so high that the stuntman he wails on had to tell him to stop. They wrapped the shoot and had a celebratory beer at 6 in the morning.
Wow.
And
yeah,
because I noticed when they did that shot, they showed it basically 3 times consecutively from different angles. And I was like, I bet that was a really hard one to get. And they're like, you know what? We're going to show you 3 times because we nailed it. And you got to see it again and again and again from different angles.
Yeah, that's what I like. It gets to that shot, and yeah, I'm like, if I'm looking at this, it's just like, oh, like this is really weird from like a storytelling, filmical aspect. They're just showing this 3 times with no finesse, or they're just like showing it, but it's like, oh no, they earned that, you know. So I can't really critique that or whatever. That's fucking insane. Even just seeing like all of the dudes, like, you know, all the other stuntmen too, who just like and you see them, a lot of them again in the end credits in slow motion, but like the dudes like flying out of the double-decker bus. There's guys like on the top part, and they crash through the windows, and man, in the angle in the credits, the dudes fucking bounce when they hit the pavement. Yeah. And there's so much of that. There is so much. I think there's one where a dude like falls out of like a 2nd-story window, like onto the ground too, like on his back. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah, dudes get launched and they hit the ground hard. I feel like even watching Jackie Chan do some of the stunts, I feel like when he lands on his back, I see the back of his head connect to the floor. So it's like, man, I don't even know how. He's just in his peak physical condition at this point, I guess, because there's definitely some bumps that would be pretty bad.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And speaking of the credits, that was that's my little beef with HBO Max.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
They did the minimize and like watch this next, and it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Yep. It's like more so than a fucking Marvel cinematic universe end credits scene, it's like you watch the credits in a Jackie Chan movie because that's where the bloopers and the outtakes are. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's like,
yep.
It's their victory lap. It's like you owe it to them to watch the outtakes, and yeah. So that was just my little.
Chloe gets very like tense when we watch streaming service sometimes. So when we watch like streaming services movies, because like that shit will happen and I will just get so peeved. even if it's like not a movie that I know that there's gonna be bloopers or like, you know, a post-credit sequence. Mm-hmm. I'm like, let me just, because like there's something about sitting in the credits after a movie sometimes, and it's like don't try to tell me what to watch next. Don't do that shit. I hate it when I don't know, not even like streaming services, but like technology in general thinks that it knows what you want and tries to automatically do it. I'm not stupid. Don't And as soon as it went to that minimize thing, I feel like HBO Max didn't do that, but Max does. Oh, that's a demarcation. That's a new thing. Because I'm trying to think of,
you're right.
I'm trying to think of other apps that do that. Like, I think Disney Plus does it.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Because when we watched Pirates, there's like post-credit sequences, and it does the same thing. It minimizes it. Like, that's what it used to do on like TV. Like when you're watching a movie on like TNT or USA or AMC or whatever one of those channels, it'll get really tiny and the credits will zoom by and then it'll say coming up next. Drives me nuts. Yeah. Got a pretty big laugh out of the courtroom scene where the judges and the lawyers were all wearing like 1776 powdered wigs.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't know if that's traditional culture or if that's like an American thing that they're trying to like ape, but I was like, okay, this is weird. This is very strange.
Yeah, I don't know. I meant to like, I don't know exactly what I would look up, but
they weren't even like fully on their heads. Like you could see their hair underneath.
Yeah,
like
on some of them, yeah.
I think that was a good example of another. So like the comedic elements of this movie are like Jackie Chan kind of using whatever he can in the room as like a tool, but I think the other comedic element is just like constant miscommunications. Yeah. And because like I noticed the first scene when he has God, what's her name, basically the crime boss's girlfriend, Selena.
Yeah, Selena.
So he's got Selena in his apartment, which again is another miscommunication. He comes home and it's his birthday, and his girlfriend has a cake, and I think he gets 3 cakes in the face, maybe 4 throughout the progression of that. Yeah. So like, there's your first miscommunication. She thinks it's she's like, oh, it's your birthday, and then he comes home with another woman, so she leaves. She's all upset, and then when she like sits on the cactus, they have this conversation where she's like, ew, get that thing away from me. Oh, you got me all wet. And I'm like, this is weirdly horny dialogue. Why are they saying it this way? And then of course it is used back. Yeah. It's used in court as like they go to, you know, show this damning piece of evidence against the boss. And then it's this conversation that sounds like very sexual and perverted. And they're like, no, it's not what it sounds like.
Yeah.
There's definitely more instances of that, but those are like the two of the big ones that.
Well, you can go back to the phone conversation scene. That's like,
picking
up he's like,
where did you get raped? He's like, I lost my cow.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, when were you raped? A year ago.
Yeah.
Well, go to the family planning center. And then I think he says that to May. And she's like, tell your mom to go to a family planning center. And he's like, what? Why would I do that?
Yeah. Yeah. He's thick-headed. And then, like, you know, the whole, he gets framed for the murder. That's a miscommunication in a way.
That's a pretty big one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the cow shit moonwalk was. If that was supposed to be like a send up of American culture, like Michael Jackson.
Cow shit, just where he like steps in the.
He steps in it, and then he kind of looks at it, and then he's like moving around. But then I think he does like Michael Jackson's like signature moonwalk on the steps.
Did he? I must not have been like. I must have like looked away from the screen or something.
Like he's like gliding perfectly, exactly how Michael Jackson would do it. And like 1985, I think that was right around the time of Thriller as well.
Okay, maybe that's. So I was
just, like, huh?
That's just
a
how
little
Jackie
nod.
Chan moves.
That it's like some kind of like Forrest Gump and Elvis situation.
Yeah,
and it's like that's where Michael Jackson got the idea from, was Jackie Chan.
Yeah. Yeah, shoot, I'm looking for that part to see what you mean, but man, it's crazy like skipping around this movie now. Like the pacing of it is so wild that like it's like 40 minutes into the movie before you even like see his girlfriend, before that scene even happens.
Yeah.
And then there's like the whole like the courtroom thing in the middle, which like almost feels like that. I mean, not in like a kung fu action movie, but like that almost feels like that could be like a climax scene. But then there's still like half of the movie after that, and
yeah. And then we had a couple Wong Kar-wai regulars in this too.
Oh, was there really?
Yeah.
Oh, Maggie Cheung is in.
Yeah.
In the Mood for Love, right?
Yeah, and then Brigitte Lin, Selena, is in Chungking Express.
Oh, is she the like the redheaded woman, the one who wears the wigs
blonde.
or whatever?
Yeah,
she's
she wears like the blonde wigs.
Oh, yeah, I guess. Blonde, yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because Chloe really likes In the Mood for Love, so she recognized Maggie Cheung like almost immediately.
Oh, okay.
The police guy seemed familiar too. The Yuan Chor, who's kind of like the chubbier faced guy who kind of.
I wonder if
he's
it's
like
the
the
one
second under the lieutenant.
The older guy, or
yeah.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of a different one of the other ones. He's one of the younger ones, but like the main younger one that wasn't Jackie or the guy who betrayed him.
Yeah.
I kept thinking it was Chow Yun-fat, but I didn't. I didn't see him in the credits or whatever. And then I thought Lee kind of looked like Ben Shapiro, so.
Yeah, he's kind of got. Yeah, I can kind of see that.
A little bit, just here and there.
I also, part of the humor of this movie I really liked when he's like he's the hero cop, and so they have to set up all these different scenarios where he's like sitting on a motorcycle with his little thing, or like arresting a guy, and he's like this isn't why I'm a police officer, this is corny shit.
Yeah. I thought like the beginning chunk there was bits like the part where the one, it might be Lee, I think it is like in front of the like projection screen, like telling him, oh, we got to take down this drug lord guy, is like very much like the first episode of Detective Francois versus a serial killer. And then Francois is like the hero cop and stuff, and he gets taken down, and
wow. Detective Francois, Police Story, like they're right up there with
same
each other.
Thing, yeah. Same level of stunt work in both,
right.
both of them. There's one somersault dive in Francois that Dagan does.
The most physically fit out of everybody, probably. Watching this though, I was really wishing for like a Jackie Chan directed version of Infernal Affairs, because I think if Infernal Affairs had been anything like this, it would have been a far more entertaining movie. I feel like there were some elements of it. It's not like Jackie Chan like went undercover in their group, but they kind of had, they had a mole in the police force that kind of was kind of feeding them faulty intel to get him, try to to basically try to, stay one step ahead. But I would have loved to have seen a version of that with Jackie Chan and the same stunt work.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh man, the parallel parking scene. I have the IMDb pulled up, and it's just like showing like the different highlights from the movie, where he just like skids the car and like perfectly sandwiches it in between the other two. The guy's like, "Hey, I was gonna park there." It's like, "Oh, pretty good job though."
Yeah.
A lot of zooms, a lot of really tactical
that's right.
zoom in, zoom out.
I meant to. Yeah, that's something I forgot to mention. Yeah, especially during that opening scene, the opening
Oh yes.
Stakeout scene. It was like every other shot was like zoom in on a cop, zoom in on a perp, zoom in on a cop.
Yep. It reminded me a little bit of Kung Pao, which is probably emulating that style of kung fu movie.
Yeah, very, very likely. Yeah. Yeah. The
yeah. Oh, the pool jump too. I'm surprised that Jackie didn't do that stunt. I think she did though.
I thought I was gonna.
On the IMDb trivia, it said that Brigitte Lin did a lot of her own stunts as well.
Yeah, I saw that. It's cool.
Yeah, I feel like in America we have like Tom Cruise, who's very famous for doing his own stunts, or doing a lot of them, especially with the Mission Impossible movies.
The next one's coming out next week. I'm so fucking pumped.
How are there so many? I feel like one just came out.
No. Fallout was like 2018 or 2019, and that was the last one. So I mean, yes and no.
I thought there was another, because suddenly I saw everyone talking about it, and I guess I already thought it was out. I don't know.
Well,
okay.
It might be like pre-release screenings or something, but
maybe that's what it is.
But
yeah, the only one I've really seen is Ghost Protocol, which I remember really liking that one. Mm-hmm. But it's that famous picture of Tom Cruise sitting on top of the Burj Khalifa, with no harness at all, whatsoever. It's shit like that's cool, and it's seeing Jackie Chan do that and just be willing to get his ass kicked over and over and over again, and just because I think I even read for some of the scenes, for even other characters, Jackie would be the stuntman for. They would just obscure his face.
That. Yeah, for some of them.
So I wonder if some of those guys that just get flung out windows and shit, if Jackie's one of them, because he's like, oh, well, I'm not on screen, I can do this one.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun series if we did the Mission Impossible movies. I was thinking about that.
That would be cool. Yeah, I mean, that'd maybe have to be a 2-part or something, because with Dead Reckoning Part 1, I think that's number 7.
Oh yeah.
If you count all of them, but that would be an interesting series to do, I think, because it's just kind of a different it's kind of went on such a weird ride, because it's had stops and starts over its it's been going since the mid 90s, but not consistently,
Yeah. I was very surprised to see the first Mission Impossible movie was 96 or something like that.
I think 95 or 96. Yeah.
Which is that's crazy that he's been doing it for almost 20 years.
Yeah. I don't know if those are the ones that got him started on the action kick. I mean, he did Top Gun before that, but they're not doing Top Gun's just in sets.
Yeah.
No real stunts.
With Mission Impossible, he's because is the Burj Khalifa one in Ghost Protocol?
Yeah, and that's that's the 4th one.
Yeah, because he's sliding down that the window pane. It's they actually did that shit on the building, and that's the tallest building in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. He and now it's he does he does a big, at least one big stunt in every movie, and they know to ham that up but it's like, it's, you know, just like the Jackie Chan stuff. It's like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, you deserved it, you know. Ham it up, use that in the trailers as much as you want, because it's insane.
Yeah. I know, like, Jackie Chan's like almost 70 now, but I feel like he was even kind of doing stunts like that fairly recently. I haven't seen...
I would think so. I mean, Rush Hour 3 he still was.
There's that one movie that he had a few years ago that I feel like was kind of like in that John Wick Nobody
I think
type
I know the
movie.
one you're thinking of. Are you thinking of The Foreigner?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's I only saw that once, but I mean, I don't know if he's like jumping through windows, like multiple stories up, but he's definitely, you know, fighting and, you know, jumping around and shit. Yeah.
And they're doing another Rush Hour movie.
Okay. All right. I'm here for it.
You think they got Brett Ratner to do it?
Well, I don't know. The page for... Oh, no, this is the series. Okay. So there's not a page for the fourth one, I guess. But I'm going to say no. But I would be here for it. Yeah, and if you... I mean, you did like this, there's... I feel like probably his heyday is like 80s, 90s for sure, but there's a ton more like in there that are like on this, like the level of like, because I feel like whether or not Jackie Chan directs his movies himself, he has such a recognized style that, like, you know, that's what like the Rush Hour movies are. It's like that same kind of like comedy in action. It's like the same in Rush Hour. Like all the fight scenes in Rush Hour feel like they could be, you know, pulled from Police Story in a sense.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, I mean, you know, like Super Cop, the, you know, at least 3 and 4, probably the second Police Story. I would say it's probably because I like 3 and 4. Project A is good. I need to see more. That's one that he did with I don't know if he started out with them or what, but he made movies in like the 70s and 80s, or maybe just 80s, with Sammo Hung and Yuen Bao. I don't know how to say his last name. And they were kind of like a Kung Fu Three Stooges type thing, where they were all like comedic Kung Fu stuff, and like Project A is that. Meals on Wheels is the one that I really want to see.
Okay.
Supposed to be really good.
Yeah, and I was reading the Wikipedia, and it said that he took particular inspiration from Terrence Hill and Bud Spencer, who they are very famously like the 1980s like spaghetti western comedy guys.
Oh, okay.
If you've ever seen My Name Is Nobody, I think that's a Leone spaghetti western with Paul Newman. My dad is super into Terrence Hill. There's like a movie called like Trinity, and then Trinity Is Still My Name. But he's like this very, very like lazy gunslinger type guy. Like in the first scene, he's like so lazy he can't ride his horse, so he's asleep and his horse is dragging him like in a sleeping bag behind him, and he eats beans over a fire. Like he's just like super grubby and lazy.
What is this called? I want to see if it's... I don't think it's the same, but
I think it's My Name Is Nobody is how that starts out.
My Name Is Nobody.
It's a 1973.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Henry Fonda's in it.
Interesting.
Or maybe that's who it is. It's Henry Fonda. Okay. I thought it was Paul Newman, but it's not. But he's basically like, yeah, he's kind of grubby and lazy, but then it's like he gets into a situation, and it's very like slapstick Three Stooges-y, where like he'll grab the guy's gun out of his pocket, spin it, put it in his pocket, pull it out, spin it, put it back in his pocket, pull it out, spin the bullets, put them out, and it's like very like woo 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 woo, and then he doinks him in the eyes like that, like very very much like that. And I think that's like
that does seem very your dad's style.
Yeah, trust me, loves that shit. But it's like, knowing that, I definitely see that influence in Police Story, with just like the sort of it's like this way of telling comedy in a fight scene physically, where it's like it's like a push and pull, where like they'll be fighting and then they'll both lean back and then they'll like kind of look and then resume and do other things. And it's just like it's such a he's so good at conveying that through physicality and like martial arts.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's Trinity, because like the poster of They Call Me Trinity, he's being pulled by, I think it's a donkey. I don't even think it's a horse. I think he's just got a donkey.
I was just asking because there's I think that's what happens in that. There's a movie from the 60s called Cat Ballou, and there's a Jane Fonda's the lead, but she it's kind of like she gets a band of other gunslingers, and one of them is this like older alcoholic gunslinger who's like he's supposed to be like a legend, but he's now just like a loser alcoholic, and he also gets like dragged behind by his horse. That's like normal.
That's funny
because he's just drunk all the time. Yeah. 65. Okay. Yeah, Lee Marvin. Okay. That's who plays that guy in that. That's right. Yeah, that's a good movie. Kind of a similar kind of comedy spaghetti western send up, but it is. I think that one is all American. I don't think it's actual spaghetti.
Oh, okay.
Western.
Gotcha.
Sure. Good for scores. Yeah.
Did we talk about this one longer than we talked about Sunset Boulevard?
We did. I mean, we did have a lot of tangents in this one, but I was like,
they were related.
Yeah, no, they were related, but like, I'm like, yeah, because it would have been really short if not for those. So, so yeah.
I mean, plot-wise, it's pretty simple. It's a pretty simple plot.
Simple, yeah.
It's really a spectacle that you need to take in. You really need to just watch it and just. Like, I mean, I got chills when he grabs like the umbrella and hooks it to the bus, and I'm like, God damn, this all is so cool. Just seeing this shit and like the fact that they were able to pull all this stuff off is so cool.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's your turn first.
Well, yeah. Well, I'll segue directly from that. I think I'm sitting at an 8. I really liked it. Plot was fairly thin, but that's completely secondary to just the pure like spectacle of all of the set pieces and the choreography and the martial arts. This is like peak Jackie Chan, just doing his shit, throwing dudes through planes of glass constantly, doing his own stunts. And it's just like that perfect blend of slapstick comedy and action and martial arts. And really like the sort of like thin-ish plot that never really got resolved. Just kind of did that classic 80s freeze frame, credits roll. Like I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're done. I reading that story about the pole slide, I was like, yeah, I guess they really had to get out of that mall. So they just...
yeah.
He's like, hold on. I got to beat the shit out of this guy, and then we're done. He's like, okay. And they just... Like, he really wheels into that guy at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really, really liked it. And I want to watch the second one now. So
definitely.
That's an 8. It's an 8 for me.
Yep. I'm an 8 as well. Yeah, I think especially the final act, I guess, like from when he's framed on, like really won me over and kind of solidified that. Yeah, I think the whole, no pun intended, the whole like final mall climax sequence is electric, and just insane. Any just straight up hand-to-hand combat scene is crazy. I love it's so nice compared to, you know, modern action movies where there's like a million cuts a second, and like I was
shaky cam.
Yeah, I was just loving every shot that was just like waist high on the ground, just a wide shot, just showing two people kick the shit out of each other. Yep, Jackie's one of my favorite people to watch on screen. Always will be. I love his. I think he in terms of that like physical comedy, he is one of the greats. Or yeah. So yeah, it's an 8. And yeah, I like same with you. The only thing that brings it down is that like yes, the plot is super thin, and there were some scenes that were like maybe trying to be a bit more serious that I was just like, okay, let's get back to the like
yeah
the other stuff. But yeah, so one of
Very
many
nice.
Jackie movies that I would recommend. So
yeah. So watched a couple movies this weekend outside of Police Story. I've been doing this fun game where while we're making dinner, I'll go into my little den and pull 2 movies off the shelf and put 2 of them behind my back, and then have Chloe pick one, like right or left. And sometimes it's very much a Martin Scorsese, one for you, one for me type deal, where I'll pick one that I think she would like, and then I'll pick one that I would like, and it's just like, all right, pick one. I think this time it was Ferris Bueller versus, I think I put Inherent Vice behind my other back.
Wow, what a pick.
Well, we had started it, and then we got distracted, something happened, and we never finished it. And I've only seen
Inherent Vice
once.
or
Yeah, Inherent Vice. But last week it was Twister. She picked Twister. And then Logan Lucky was the other one behind my back, which I really liked that movie, but I feel like no one saw it or even heard of it.
Yeah. I've seen it. Yeah, I like that movie. Yeah. So Ferris Bueller. She had never seen it before, but she'd seen a bunch of John Hughes stuff. It's like we've seen the inverse of each other, like John Hughes movies, where it's like she's seen like Pretty in Pink, 16 Candles. Oh man, those
and
are
like
good. Yeah.
I haven't seen those 2.
Yeah.
And then I've seen like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Weird Science, like Uncle Buck. The more, I guess, like raunchier, less heartfelt, kind of coming of age type movies, I guess.
Sure. Yeah.
And I was surprised she hadn't seen it before, so we popped it in, and yeah, shit holds up. It's a great movie. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
And I was looking at some of the Letterboxd reviews, and there's like a handful of like contrarians that are like, Ferris Bueller is literally a sociopath. He does not give a shit about, and it's like, do you hate fun?
That's like if I took my thing about the police brutality and stuff in Police Story. If I was like, I don't like this movie because it's propagating like
this is propaganda.
Yeah. It's like you're missing the point of the movie.
Yeah, get shoved in a locker. All these are written by Ed Rooney.
Yeah.
But just watching it again, really kind of solidified Cameron as like one of my favorite John Hughes characters, though. And I really think he is like, it's Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but I feel like Cameron really is like sort of the centerpiece of that movie for me.
Yeah.
Like, I will never like not get choked up in the museum scene of that movie with the so it's a Smith song, but it's covered by the Dream Factory, but it's like, please let me get what I want. And it's just very, very like 80s, but it's just like that shot of Cameron staring at, I think it's like it's something in the park. I think it's a Monet.
It's no, it's an evening on La Grande Jatte by,
that's what it is,
Matisse.
Henri
Matisse,
because it's like the little dots.
Yep, pointillism.
Yes, and
which
it's
I saw that painting last fall when I went to Chicago.
Is it Is it in like the same spot in the
Yeah,
Ferris
it
Bueller?
is.
That's so cool.
Well, I mean, it's in that museum. I haven't seen Ferris Bueller in a while, but it is like center of a room, and it's a huge painting too.
Yeah, yeah. Because like if I ever went, I would want to recreate that shot where it's like the three of them standing, like there's three paintings, and then they're all just like standing.
And
but the way that it
turn
like
their heads or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the way that it zooms in on like the little tiny dots, and it just gets closer and closer to Cameron's face. I don't know why. It's just.
It's Georges Seurat. It's not Henri Matisse. So I'm stupid. And it's, man, I paraphrased. It's Georges Seurat, and it is a Sunday afternoon on the island of Le Grand Jeté. So.
You uncultured swine.
Yeah.
Get it right.
Piece of shit.
And then, of course, the climax with him kicking the car and, like, him talking about, he's like, I got to take a stand against my dad. And, like, even watching that, I look over and Chloe's just, like, doing one of those.
Yeah.
Because that's, like, the emotional climax of the movie. Cameron is, like, kind of fully, grown as a character.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. We should do a Mission Impossible series. We should do a John Hughes series.
Those are good ideas.
I think that'd be fun.
I think that's good for maybe, like, yeah. I'm going to, like, we should write those down for something, because I like both of those ideas. M-I. Okay.
And then, I don't know. I kind of alluded to it earlier, but we watched the first Hunger Games movie. I don't know what made us want to do this. Because we were out at, like, her mom's house for, like, her sister's birthday, and just in the car ride home, she's like, we should watch the Hunger Games. And I was like, yeah, all right. I've never seen them before, so I might as well. And I thought it was pretty enjoyable, but even for like a 2.5 hour long movie, I really felt like you didn't really learn much about like the characters really at all. It's like so.
Yeah.
And I've been told that like the books are like really good at like nailing that class consciousness dichotomy versus the elites and like the have-nots. That's what I've seen people say on the internet, but
I'll say this. So like I do think
Have you read them?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
I do think that the books are a lot better than the movies, but I still think that they're just like, YA.
Well, they're young adult novels.
Yeah, so it's not anything mind-blowing, but they're not bad.
Okay.
They're like a fun time, but also it's like I've read Battle Royale.
That's kind of why I added it on there, because I knew you were like a fan of that, and I was like the compare and the contrast.
Compared to that, it's Battle Royale. The novel is like infinitely better. With like, it's not as much about like social commentary, but more like character study. Because Battle Royale, like Hunger Games, is your Katniss's perspective. Maybe it changes to like PETA for like some, I don't know, maybe. But Battle Royale is like there's 42 students in that game.
Yeah.
And you get a chapter from like basically at least one chapter from basically every single person's perspective. And some of them are like they're in one chapter and they panic and then they get killed. And then some of them are like, it's a really cool, I think it's a much more interesting look at like getting into all the different ways that somebody would maybe react to like being in that situation.
Yeah, because there's basically there's Katniss and PETA and like I guess the good guys, which are like the people that are sort of in there and they don't really want to do it, and they kind of like her, like Rue, I guess.
Rue, that's the other one.
And then there's just like the gang of shitheads that are just like they're like
District 1 kids or whatever.
Yeah, like, oh, there's Katniss, she's the protagonist, we gotta kill her now.
Yeah.
Which Jack Quaid is in that movie.
Is he? Is he one of
the
other
one of those?
He's
the one that throws the spear that kills Rue.
Oh, okay.
But
I've only seen
like,
the movie once when it was
in
theaters. So.
Super young. Like.
Okay, interesting.
He's a gangly little shithead. But yeah, it just those guys like really felt one-dimensional, and then it was like they got to that climax where they're, dude, that is probably one of the most brutal ways to kill someone though, is like they have the holographic dogs or whatever come in and attack everybody.
Oh yeah, I remember
and
that
instead
being
of like
really visceral in the books, or in the book.
Yeah, like instead of killing him, basically like he gets pushed off the thing, and the dogs are like tearing him apart, and you can hear him just like no, 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 and then she like pauses while he's being torn apart, and then puts an arrow in and like puts him out of his misery. But he gets like torn apart for like a solid like 30 seconds before she kills him. It's like, God damn, that's brutal. And then I feel like the ending just like very quickly was like just wrapped up so fast, where there's like, actually we changed the rules. There can only be one winner, and then they're like gonna eat the berries together to kill themselves, and then it's like, wait, stop, you both won, and then it's like done. I was like, that seemed like kind of a weird rushed cop out, but I don't know. Yeah. I gave it like 3 stars on Letterboxd. Like it was fun. It was entertaining. Wes Bentley had the wildest beard I've ever seen.
Yeah. Seneca Crane. I do really like the names in that series. They got very like fun sounding names.
Yeah.
I laughed. Trinket.
I laughed so hard at the scene when PETA is a rock, though. Because it's just like, because it's sort of alluded to that he can like
paint himself.
Yeah,
like
but it's like you took that much time to like paint your face, and he's just like laying in the side of it, and he's like,
yeah. That's something that definitely, like, reading it in a book sounds better than it looks, you know?
Yeah.
When you don't actually see it for real. Sounds cool.
He looks like a Mighty Boosh character.
Oh.
Like, that looks like Vince Neil. I sent you a picture on Discord. But that looks like a Vince Noir, like...
Yeah, it does.
Like, when you are the moon, like one of those types of things.
Yeah,
or like
totally
Tony
does.
Harrison.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fine. I think we're gonna watch the other ones just to kind of conclude it.
Continue.
But
yeah,
I do think that I want to find a way for us to watch Battle Royale too, just to kind of get the other perspective.
Have you seen that ever?
If I did, it would have been at your house years ago, and I don't remember. It's been so long. I think we started it. I feel like you put it on while I was over, because I remember the actress who plays Gogo Yubari from Kill Bill is in it.
Yep, that's actually like
where
cast
Quentin Tarantino found her.
Yeah, and her character is kind of based on her in Battle Royale.
That's kind of cool.
And I think she wears a yellow tracksuit in Battle Royale. And I think it was like that and the Enter the Dragon thing. She's like, oh, I'm going to give that to Uma Thurman in Kill Bill. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, let me know what you think. I love that movie. If you can get your hand on the book, I did flip-flop for a while, but I reread the book a couple years ago, and I do think that is my favorite version of that story. But the movie is still pretty good.
Yeah.
It's yeah. We don't have
Very
to go
nice.
into it now.
Yeah.
So I just earlier today I saw the new Indiana Jones in theaters. I wasn't planning on seeing it in theaters, but I just started working at the theater, and we get like free passes. We get like a couple free passes every week. So I was like, sure, yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not?
It was all right. It was it wasn't like I don't know. Compared to, like, I think Raiders of the Lost Ark is one of those perfect action movies. I think alongside like Pirates of the Caribbean, where it's like there's no fat to be trimmed. I think it's a perfect movie, like top to bottom. And then Temple of Doom and Last Crusade are good, but not, they're not Raiders of the Lost Ark. A lot of people really hate these late sequels, and I thought both this and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull were like fine. They had their their ups and downs. No, it's not old indie. Well, it is old indie, but it's not, it's not 80s indie by any means. Especially in this one, it's like, man, Harrison Ford is old. They open with this like, I don't know, like 15-20 minute it's kind of like Police Story, just like a very extended like opening action sequence, but it's at the end of World War II, and they deep fake like a young like Harrison Ford face over him, and it's pretty good. There's some parts, some angles, some spots where you can see it's got a little uncanny valley, but there's some times where it's like, wow, like you can't tell. But Harrison Ford sounds like this now, and that's not how he sounded when he was 40 years old. So that's like kind of what took me out of that more. But it, it's fun. It has some of that fun indie like action comedy, that the series has. It has kind of all the elements of an Indiana Jones adventure. But it's just it isn't as fun to watch an 80-year-old guy do all this stuff. It is kind of sad. At least in this one, they do. This is like I think Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was just like they were doing a late sequel and like, if this succeeds, then we'll do more. But I feel like Dial of Destiny is more like this is kind of closing the book, because it's not like 100%. It's not like there's no way he could come back, if they made another one. I don't know if that's the plan, but it is very like there's a lot of talk of like he, there's a part where he's like, he gets shot and they're like, oh, we need to like save you, and he's like, why? Like, what's waiting for me? There's kind of like stuff like that. He's like, I'm an old man, I don't have anybody at home, my all my like family is like dead, or they left me or whatever, so like what am I even like fighting for? So, and that stuff kind of, it works for me, but it is a bit long in the tooth too, and the ending action sequence is pretty nuts. It goes pretty have you seen any of the Indiana Jones movies?
I've seen Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and I've seen like a handful of scenes from the original trilogy. John Hughes, Mission Impossible,
Indiana Jones. Fuck yeah.
We just gotta fill in those blind spots in my movie watching history, because there's a lot of classic shit I have not seen. Those Indiana Jones movies are some of them. I mean, I get the general vibe.
Well,
and I feel like so many of like the scenes from the original trilogy are like so iconic that like I feel like I've almost seen them all through reaction memes and like GIFs.
Well, I guess like kind of the standard for the thing is like they're indie and usually Nazis, or bad guys are hunting this artifact, and it's got all these like, it's supposed to be supernatural, but it's it's just an artifact and whatever. But then like in the end, it is supernatural. There is some magical properties to it, and they do that again with this one. And they go like the full, they go full bore on the end, and it's cool. I like that they go like, no,
crazier than Aliens.
It's different. It's not like
different kind of supernatural,
but pretty crazy.
Okay. Well, so hold on. If he's fighting Nazis in like the 80s movies,
well,
that's like in the 1940s, right?
I was saying like like in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, it's Russians, it's not Nazis,
right? So in this one, who's the primary? It's ISIS.
Well, it's kind of a spoiler, but not. It is a Nazi from World War II. It's Mads Mikkelsen, who is, I will say, a perfect fit for an Indiana Jones villain. Like, he has the face for it. He's got 100%. That vague Eastern European accent.
Oh yeah.
And
I can see
good.
I can see the scar like on his eye.
He doesn't. I thought there's a part like at the beginning. So he's in that scene in like when it's young Indiana Jones, and and Mads is also younger, and there's a part where it's like you're supposed to think that he dies, and then it's like, oh no, he's still alive, and he's the guy who's trying to get the thing in the present. And I thought for sure, like, how he gets taken out in that opening scene, I thought for sure he was going to have, like, a big scar across his face. They don't. Maybe they didn't want to because that's too, like, Le Chiffre from James Bond, like his guy in Casino Royale or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking of, yeah. But it's like, yeah, in those kind of movies, your classic villain has to have some sort of scar or facial, like, give him a white contact lens, like one of his eyes is milky white for whatever reason,
Yeah, exactly. He's a Nazi. They're like, they Nazis just naturally have some like physical defect.
Yeah.
So he's the main bad guy, and then it's the rest are basically, I guess, neo-Nazis, more or less.
Sure.
Okay. And yeah,
there's
and
like
he
scenes of them watching Gavin McInnes and like
and Mads is probably like my favorite part of the movie. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is like the sidekick character, and she's pretty good too. She's
okay.
She worked really well in that part. There's a couple more like characters from Raiders show up for brief scenes, which is pretty cool, pretty touching in a way.
I'm surprised that they didn't bring back I don't know his actor, I don't know his name, but Short Round.
Oh, that would have been perfect.
Especially with like all of the images of them reuniting after Everything Everywhere All at Once.
They must I'm guessing they were already like in production when that like kind of blew up, but that would have been perfect.
Because like that guy is like huge right now. It would have been such a climactic, perfect like reuniting thing for that movie. But yeah, they must have been in production before Everything Everywhere blew up to what it is.
I think so. Dang it. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that would have been cool.
Maybe in the second one, or in the fifth one or sixth one, when Harrison Ford is 85 and he's just like, just let me die. I did see like I saw on Twitter there were like some prosthetic masks that they had used for like young Harrison Ford.
Oh, okay. Oh, for like stunts or something.
Yeah.
Probably.
And it was like it almost looked real, but then if you look at the eyes, they're like sunken a little bit because it's a mask, and like that uncanny valley like creeps in. But obviously whenever those photos got leaked of like the prosthetic mask body double, they immediately posted like I think you should leave. Like I got too much fucking shit on me.
Yeah.
They posted him right next to it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a very conflicting feeling towards like doing the digital like de-aging shit. Like my brother and I watched The Irishman like years ago, and it was like young Bobby Dinnerplate, and it was just I don't know. I mean, technology has probably only gotten better since then, but it was like very weird.
It's like, honestly, to me, it's like, at least if they're using the actor, like, it was Harrison Ford, like, mocapping as far as I know. Or, like,
okay.
At least he's alive and, like, there for, he's in the movie and stuff. But it gets to a point, and, like, I definitely saw this with The Irishman, too, where it's, like, even with the de-aging, you can tell that they're old men by the way that they move around and stuff. So it still makes it a little weird. Or like, how, like I said, his voice is very gruff now.
Right.
So it's I don't know. It didn't take me too out of it in this, but it's a little weird. Yeah. I guess that's kind of my general take, because it's like,
if it's done like tastefully, it's done well, I'm like, okay. But it's like, I remember, God, it was years ago, I saw like Toy Story 4, and I'm forgetting the actor's name. Was it Don Rickles who did the pig?
Yes. Yes.
But he died.
Yeah.
And they basically, between all the other Toy Story movies and video games and shorts and like other properties, they cobbled together dialogue for him.
That's right.
From other things, and now
that's what I don't like. Yeah.
And now it's going to be like AI that's going to do it.
Or like Bruce Willis,
like with Jim Varney, like with Slinky Dog.
Mm-hmm.
Just like take it from all the Ernest movies and all the other Toy Story movies, and it's like, yeah, you can just make Jim Varney say whatever you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the shit I don't like. Or like Bruce Willis, I think he signed away like rights to his face or something like that.
Oh, that's weird.
Because also that's like, because he's like not doing movies anymore, so it's like are they just gonna put his face in a movie, like, and he's not involved with it at all? That is dumb, because it's like, that's Bruce Willis isn't in your movie. That doesn't like make him be in your movie in my head. But you know, they can make those dime a dozen, you know, the movies that he has been doing the past however many years, and people aren't, there's probably still a lot of people who, you know, they have no idea about like his situation and stuff, and they're just like, okay, sure, he's on the cover.
Oh damn, another Bruce Willis movie.
Yeah.
Another movie where Bruce Willis, well, I guess they wouldn't even have to do that anymore.
I hope this is as good as Apex and Vanguard.
Well, yeah, I mean, if it's all deep fake, if it's all digital Willis, they don't even have to do the thing that they were doing, which was just having him walk around by himself in the woods.
Yeah.
Now they can throw his ass in all sorts of
exactly.
Hell, let's just remake Die Hard. Let's just take all those, like, you know, Reginald Vel Johnson, 2. I think, is dead. Just get him back in there. Is he dead?
I don't think so. If he did, it was recent.
It's Phil, the dad from Bel Air. He died.
Yeah, that's it.
Different 90s sitcom dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, this deepfake AI shit is weird, especially because, like, these guys are only getting older, and, like, more of them are going to start dropping off, and it's just, like, I don't know.
After they die, are they going to...
I don't know. But then it's become, you know, it's, like, such a commercial thing that everyone can kind of get access to it, that, like, it'd be so funny to have like student films where they just like deepfake someone's face on like an actor, and it's like, oh shit, Bruce Willis is in my student film.
Yeah.
And it's just like some bald guy with like Bruce Willis's face on him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, like, I don't know. It's an okay sequel. I don't think it's garbage, but it's not like amazing, you know. It's kind of a take it or leave it, but if you're like interested, check it out if you're an indie fan. I guess that's my softest recommendation. My next one that I didn't even know about until I started working there, I'm going to see the next time I work, is called Sound of Freedom. Have you heard of this movie?
No, I have not. That sounds like a small budget Christian movie.
So it is by Angel Productions. But apparently it's like, I don't know the whole story, but it's apparently like a QAnon backed movie
yes,
about like this like US soldiers or whatever, like it's like a sex trafficking thing, and it's like the only movie that's getting, like, when I left, it's like the only movie that's getting pre-sale tickets at the theater, and it had like almost the entire theater sold up for the next showtime when I left, in pre-sale tickets. And it's like people showing up, and like a lady showing up, and apparently this wasn't me that had this, but she like bought 6 tickets, and they were like, oh, okay, you got more people coming? She's like, no, I just want to buy some extra tickets for like the next people or whatever. Like,
she's trying to like pay it forward for
Sound of Freedom.
Oh my god.
So I did not know about this movie until Friday, but I'm gonna see it on Tuesday. I'm so pumped. Although I'm a little scared because if I go in a packed theater and like I'm laughing at it, I feel like I'm gonna get like beat up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it'll be like, if you go to see like Passion of the Christ and you're like, holy shit, just like, because it's crazy. Yeah, and it's like, the tough part is like that whole movement accurately depicts like billionaires as like shitty people who can do whatever they want, but then like they're like, yeah, and that's why they're devil worshipping Satanists, and we have to like, they just like they draw the wrong conclusion from like the correct assumption. If that's, I'm not like trying to sympathize with QAnon people, but like the whole like they're trafficking, like Jeffrey Epstein like broke people's brains, and it's just like, yeah, he could do that because of like the economic implications of like being a billionaire. And they're like, it's just like being like following QAnon, but then still being like a conservative is just like the level of cognitive dissonance you have to hold both of those ideas in place. Where it's like, yeah, and these guys are going to save us because they hate these guys. And it's like, they're all the same guys. They're all the same people.
Yeah.
It's like, it's beyond party lines.
Yeah.
But it's just like, they can't think of it that way. So it's... Yeah, it's crazy. I did see people talking about it. I didn't know the name of it, but I saw like Jim Caviezel is in it, which
apparently he's like a QAnon dude now, which is a bummer because I used to like him. Like he's in some stuff that I liked, but I guess Passion of the Christ like just maybe that broke him.
Mel Gibson scrambled his brains.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm fucking pumped. I'll report on it next episode.
Hell yeah!
And I'm only seeing it because I get a free pass, so I don't actually give any money to the movie.
Yeah, Mira Sorvino is in it. Didn't we watch?
She's another like actress that was in.
I thought she was in something we like recently watched. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of a different Sorvino.
Are you thinking of like the one from? Because I always get her name confused with the girl from American Beauty. Which I don't even know if her name
Mena
is.
Suvari.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. Mira Sorvino. She's in a movie in 2005 called Human Trafficking with Donald Sutherland. So I guess
sweet.
Mira Sorvino's been on this kick for a while.
I guess so, yeah. Sweet.
That's a fun note to go out on.
Yeah. Okay. I'll save I might just save a Manhattan Chase for a later thing because I'll just say this, that Manhattan Chase was the movie that I watched after the episode on stream this week or last week, and it's the first like truly great movie that I've watched. Not like good great, but like it was fucking awesome. Like everything you want a bad movie to be. Like
from 2000?
Yes. Most of the movies that we watched are more like the All Babes Want to Kill Me, where it's like torture and awful. But Manhattan Chase fucking ruled.
Okay.
And I looked up the actress and the director. So the director has done a bunch of animated movies that we've watched for that too, and that's why I added Manhattan Chase, because I was like, oh, he does live action stuff too. I want to check those out. So I looked up
some of these
him, and so he did
Thunder of Gigantic Squid or Serpent.
That's probably one of his animated ones. Yeah.
Challenge the Ninja.
We watched one of his called The Ninja Squad. He has a few like ninja blank movies. But I added one of his movies to the Dud Cup that he did with one of the actors in Manhattan Chase, and it's called Undefeatable. And I found out that it has like one of the like legendary clips that we used to always quote. So I found this through like a backwards way, and I was like, holy shit. It's the "keep an eye out for you, Stingray. Yeah.
Oh,
see ya." That's this guy's movie.
Oh, I remember that. For a second, I thought it was the "how about I take you home and eat your pussy."
Yeah. No, I think that's like Mega Shark or Mega Piranha, or it's one of those.
What's the Frisbee one?
Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
That's okay.
So yeah, Manhattan Chase was fucking amazing. It was so good. Probably the worst child actor I have literally ever seen in anything. It was great, and it's on YouTube. A lot, like basically all of his movies are on YouTube. So
shit, yes.
Yeah, a wholehearty recommend for me. And now speaking of dud, maybe
here we are.
Maybe
that would be insane if you pulled it.
If it pulled Undefeatable, I'll give it a good shake. Oh, what just? Okay. Give it a good shake. Give it a chance to make its way down. We'll see. God damn it. Okay. Ooh, no. This is another one that I've watched recently that is going to be good. It's a recent one. From 2021, directed by Joshua and Simon Wesley. We're going to watch 2025, The World Enslaved by a Virus.
Oh, no. Okay.
So I feel like Sound of Freedom is going to be right at home being covered in the 2025 episode.
Yeah. 1.0 rating on IMDb with 2.2 thousand ratings. So that's that's not like, 5 people rated it 1.0, so it's got that. Like between 2,000 ratings, it's at a 1.0.
I think it's at 1.2 on Letterboxd, and I think that's the lowest rated movie on Letterboxd. If not, it was at some point, because that's why I originally checked it out. It's on Tubi, baby. Tubi's got you covered.
Roku channel, Redbox, Vudu, Plex, Tubi, all free.
Yeah, do not pay for this movie. Yeah, and the funny thing is that Sound of Freedom, I checked that IMDb, and I don't think it can be because of its recency, but it has a high enough rating to be placed, I think, number 16 on IMDb. It's higher than Seven Samurai, Empire Strikes Back, The Matrix. Those are 8.6s, and Sound of Freedom has 8.7. But I'll say this, I'm pretty sure that is because the only people watching it are people who are everybody who comes motivated. Everybody who comes into the theater is like, this is an important movie. I need to see this. That's the attitude. So I mean, you get your I guess your lib movies about social justice or some issue, and that's you get a dime a dozen. Those people are like, yeah, whatever, I'll go see him. But you get the sex trafficking QAnon movie out, and that is, they are a very, very motivated group of people. yeah.
To the point where 10,000 60 plus people learned what IMDb is to rate this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So if you don't want to be spoiled for 2025, The World Enslaved by a Virus, watch it at any one of those many. Just Google it. There's tons of free options for you. So watch it at one of those. before next week's episode. These episodes come out every Wednesday at 7 p.m. EST on Twitch and YouTube in video form, as well as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more in audio form. We also have social pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And with all that said, I am your right-hand man doing a backflip body slam onto the middle of a moving escalator. That's one we didn't talk about.
Yeah.
That fucked me up. And with me as always, I'm just a guy moonwalking with cow shit on my shoes. Nice.
Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch.
And
see you next week. It's gonna be a good ass time.
Yeah.